actually love a Saturday reset so that I can have a self-care Sunday and not have to worry about anything else. So I'm going to start posting these at this time every week so that it's also your reminder to do the same. Finally, I'm getting started on microneedling, and the reason that I decided to go this route is because it's ideal for textured skin. By puncturing the skin, you're basically causing an injury so that we can trigger the skin to repair itself. The reason we want to do that is to stimulate collagen and elastin to fill in those like sunken areas or stitch up inconsistencies. Think ice pick scarring from acne, stretch marks, even wrinkles. However, this is the opposite. Because my scar isn't recessed, it's actually a very old keloid, so it's raised. And it's shiny, which are distinctive features of this type of scar. It's actually a dense collagen formation, so this could very well make it worse. Therefore, I am not advocating for or suggesting that anyone else do this. I'm just experimenting on myself, mainly because I can and I'm curious. But keloid aside, basically I'm giving the skin a second chance to revise a repair that it's already made. But the difference between now and then is that I know better, so I can give my skin the support that it needs to do a better job. I'm getting some pinpoint bleeding, which is good because it lets me know that I am actually reaching the dermal layer of my skin. When we think of skin, sometimes we think of it as like a single unit, but it's basically 3 primary layers and then a bunch more subdivisions. So because I've created essentially a bunch of micro wounds, I am in fact going to treat it like an open wound and cover it. Not only for protection, but to keep it from drying out. So my favorite bandage, hydrocolloid. I don't want gauze, I want to seal it off. It's a cut, not a kitten that you just brought home in a box. It doesn't need to breathe. When the skin scabs over, it's very clearly dehydrated, and that's just not the proper environment for cells to build and divide. They really need a moist environment. And if you're placing these bandages over a curved area like I am, it does help to cut like little slits around it to accommodate for that. Whoa, babe, why are we so shaky? Born to let my nails grow out, but destined to be a practical girly, at least right now. So I'm gonna cut my nails. And I like to trim the length first rather than just go straight into filing. But if you only have the curved clippers or like don't have an ingrown nail clipper, which is what I'm using, you can just take the length down with a coarse nail file, and in a couple of swipes, you'll be done. Something like a 180 or even a 150 grip, but I really wouldn't go any lower than that. And for the diamond files that I'm using, that translates to the number 6. And then to get the perfect oval, I use the same principle on the corners just to take down the bulk, but with a less coarse file. This is number 3. And then finally, number 2 to refine the shape because it's pretty smooth. So it'll take down the nail, but only a little bit at a time. And because nail files are basically just sandpaper, you can get some fraying simply from sawing at the layers of the keratin that makes up your nail. So the very last thing that I do is polish the edges with a sponge file. This one is a 220-280. After soaking your feet, if your skin is too wet, the dead skin will not fall off the bone. The bite will just feel like it's kind of sliding around but not really doing anything. So make sure that you towel dry well enough to where it's not dripping wet, and you don't necessarily want to feel any water on the surface either. In fact, you can wait a few minutes for it to evaporate a little bit, because since your feet have been submerged for like at least 10 minutes, the skin will have soaked up quite a bit of water, so you don't need that superficial layer on top. This is my issue with white polish. It's so streaky that it just looks like white out. And unfortunately, I feel like it stays that way even after a second coat and doesn't really get better with more, because each coat of wet polish that you apply disturbs the layer underneath. It's like the solvents in the wet polish reactivate the dried layers so that the opacity just doesn't look even. And like, maybe it could just be the polish that I'm using, but this tends to be the usual experience that I've had no matter which one I've tried, because there's so much titanium dioxide in the formulation. Thankfully though, it looks way better in sunlight. When I'm shaping my toenails, I usually make it even with the tip of my toe, but then when I relax, I usually have to adjust it. Come to realize that this nail actually just grows sideways a bit. I think it never really was apparent to me because I generally wear pretty natural colors, but when I wear something with more contrast, it stands out so much. So I'm gonna correct that by clipping the free edge on the side that it curves away from.